Okay. So go ahead and grab something to write with, a post-it note, and write down these things. So, oh, it's mirror image. Avidya. I know there's a setting to like unmirror this, but you have to do it before you start the video. So avidya. Oh, you can see it?
Yeah, I can see it.
Oh, okay, good. Or I guess I could type it. Avidya, right? Do nothing and be free. Avidya, do nothing, be free. And keep that post-it note close because today I would like us all to do something, which is if during your practice something surfaces, right? We're talking about a couple of themes and something starts to generate its own momentum in your mind, I would like you to jot it down, right? And it does, nobody's looking. So whatever that is for you, a memory, right, a color, just write it down because I really believe that's the magic of our practice being revealed to us. And it's something the soul wants us to look at. Okay. All right, let's come into tabletop position on hands and knees, please. Good. And please move your hips, move your spine. Bring your body into your practice. Good. And I sent a playlist out. It's an uplifting one, so check in with your own energy. Right? And if you're preferring to be a little more grounded and slow, then maybe skip it and play it later. But if you're in the mood to have a little more uplifting, then that can certainly do that for your practice today. Lovely. Good. One more breath here. And then sit on your heels. Vajrasana. So the toes can be tucked or untucked, completely up to you. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, bend the elbows. Big inhale, open the heart, stretch the heart forward and up. Open your mouth and exhale here. Gone, gone. Hands to the heart, spine is upright. Take a deep breath in through the nose. Gone, gone. Let the exhale go. Inhale, reach both arms up. Exhale, give yourself a hug. So cross your right arm on top of the left and just give yourself a hug. Walk the fingertips back towards your shoulder blades and try to spread them apart so the back of your heart, right, can shine and glow and be luminous. And then open your arms to a T and then give yourself another hug. Left arm on top and just swing those arms around. Maybe wiggle a little side to side, feeling into the sides of the body, into the hips. Oh, good. Right, remember, you have this body and it never lies. Good. We're going to do one more hug each side. So open the arms and then scoop the air in. Good. And feel, right, your arms are swirling the air around you. Right. Yesterday, Hana and I were both feeling this like intense restlessness or hard to describe, just a little oomph. So open the arms, swirl the air around and wrap the arms around yourself, right? Feeling that air around you circulate. Ah, good. Ah, good. And then bring your left hand to the hip, left hip. Reach the right arm up. Side bend to the left. Good. And if you want to bring the left hand down, if that's accessible to you, you can certainly do that. Take the right arm and make some loving big circles here. Either direction is fine. Right? Swirling around. This feeling of having to change directions, right, can be a little disorienting. So we use our practice here and all the motions as symbols, right, for how we can better be at ease. when we're challenged. Good. And then switch sides, please. Lower the right hand to the hip or to the floor and open the left side body. Oh, swoosh, the kind of pranic energy that surrounds you around, stirring and stoking and churning. So good. And then come up through center. Please lift both arms up. Maybe look up. Seal the palms together. Bring the thumbs to the crown of your head. And slowly trace your midline, thumbs to the forehead, to the tip of the nose, to your lips, your chin, your throat, and your heart. Deep breath in. Slow exhale out. Downward facing dog. So today we're going to alchemize all the lessons, some of your feedback that I found so poignant. And we're going to sum it all up here. Inhale into plank pose. Gaze slightly forward. Downward facing dog, go back. Do that 2 more times. Inhale, slide forward. Ooh, good. Downward facing dog, go back. 1 more. Big inhale, fill the whole container. Exhale, downward facing dog. Good. Step your feet so wide that they come off of the mat. So you're in a wide-legged forward fold legs and then down dog arms. This pose is teaching me a lot, right? About being a little different, but doing it anyway. Because I know myself, I understand my body here. So please get a little curious in this pose. Hana has tented her fingers. All right, try that. Walk your hands a little bit forward and a little bit back. Change the orientation of your feet maybe. Right? Some like to pigeon toe a little bit, very easeful on the knees. Maybe rising up onto the balls of the feet. All suggestions, options. Today I was looking at the plants and their ability to turn towards the sun. Right? Step your feet in and come into Malasana. So walk your hands back, open the toes, and settle the hips down. Good. If you have a plant, like look at your plant. And they don't really complain when we turn them a quarter turn, so then they have to turn their head towards the sun the other way. Okay. Brianna gave me a plant, and it's like leaning one way and then keep turning it. They don't complain, they just adapt, they just turn. So we can do that too. One more breath. As you exhale, lower the hands to the floor, lift the hips and fold, Uttanasana. Feel your body drape over your legs. Slide your hands to your ankles or the shins and look forward. As you exhale, fold the body. 2 more, nice and easy, fluid and free. Inhale, that pranic force moving around your skin. Exhale, fold, and the pranic vayus moving within you. 1 more time. Inhale, halfway, reach the sternum bone forward. Exhale, fold the body. Gaze forward. Quietly walk the hands forward and come into downward facing dog. Inhale, plank pose. Lower all the way down to the floor. Cobra pose, Bhujangasana. Lift up, strong spine. Exhale, lower the chest down, tap the forehead. Stay humble. Inhale, curl up, Cobra pose, Bhujangasana. Exhale, slither like a snake, back down. One more time. Inhale, Cobra pose, Bhujangasana. High or low. Good. Exhale, downward facing dog. Yeah, bend one knee at a time. Take a walk, take a stroll, take an earnest journey towards the center of understanding the relationship we're cultivating with our own thoughts. Yeah. I started tracking my first thought in the morning. Yeah, it wasn't good for a while. I'm tired. I don't want to get up. Me. So just observe, and know that you have the ability to change your perspective at any time. Good. Lift your right leg up and back, reach to the ball of the foot, feel the glorious stretch through the entire right side of the body. Good. And then step that foot forward. Low lunge. Lower that left knee very sweetly to the floor and lift the arms. Bend your elbows cactus shape. And then squeeze your elbows together behind your body. Yeah, like as if you're going to touch your elbows together behind your body. And then wrap and bind the hands behind the back. Right thumb on top. Good. And you decide how deep, how wide, how open and lifted you want to be in this pose. Good. One more breath. Exhale, hands to the floor, step back, downward facing dog. Inhale, plank pose. Exhale, knees, chest, and chin. Wait for the inhale, slide into cobra pose, Bhujangasana, curl the heart. Wait for the exhale, downward facing dog. Let your movement trail just behind the breathing. Inhale your left leg up and back. Use the inhale to inflate and to lift. Good. Feel the entire opening, strengthening, sharpening of your left side body. Feels good to move. Good. Step that foot forward, low lunge, Anjaneyasana. Move slow and with care. Right? Pad your knee if you need that support. Good. Beautiful. Low lunge pose. Having 3 points of your foundation touching down so that you can reach up and lift up just a little bit higher. As you exhale, cactus shape your arms. And then articulate this sense of squeezing of the elbow points towards one another behind your body. Wrap the hands behind the back, interlace left thumb on top. Or maybe some of you don't even feel that this is the funny way anymore. Good. Take this heart lift, right? As high, as deep, as wide as you need. Right? We're just getting started, so be kind. Good. On this next exhale, be sure to release all the air out. Look down, hands down, step back, downward facing dog. Good. Wait for the inhale, slide into plank. Wait for the exhale, bend your elbows, chaturanga, halfway or all the way down. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Heart is reaching forward, shoulders down. Yes. Exhale, downward facing dog. Big breaths, like big winds. whirlpooling and swirling around, helping us change our direction, helping us face the light. Even though the light source changes, so can we. Come into plank pose, please. Good. Walk the left arm forward a couple of inches. Good. Side plank, left edge of the foot. And reach the right arm up. Take the top arm, 3 arm circles, little or big, you decide here. Good. And notice where your gaze is settled upon in this moment. Good. When you're done with 3, lower that right hand down. Come back, plank pose. Inhale in plank. Exhale, knees, chest, and chin. Bhujangasana, cobra. Exhale, Adho Mukha. Second side, inhale, plank pose. Walk your right hand forward just a touch. Side plank, Vashisthasana. Good. 3 arm circles. Swirling. Changing directions of the big giant flow. Sometimes there are these impediments that are like boulders in the river, borrowing this from Glennon Doyle, that make us think we're not in the flow anymore, but we are. Lower that hand down, optional vinyasa or right to downward facing dog. Check in with your breath, check in with your state of mind. Downward facing dog. 5 breaths here. Take a child's pose if the heart rate has picked up to a point where you can't count your breaths anymore. And in this sacred pause of doing a little bit of nothing, right, we let the upgrade of our nervous system happen. And we need this cool off, the chilling, the nothingness. Right? One of you wrote in, my new mantra, nothing. It's so beautiful. Instead of stronger, faster, more, we're turning our awareness in, slow down, do less. And like you take a Polaroid picture and you have to wait for that beautiful image to surface. What an opportunity. One more breath here. Make it personal, right? Good. If anything has come to mind and you want to jot it down, anytime, you can do that. And let's come back into downward facing dog. Good. Inhale your right leg up and back. Step it forward, coming into a high crescent lunge this time. Good. Instead of 3 points on the floor, now there are 2 points connecting you to the earth. Let the soles of your feet, the ball of your left foot, right, feel magnetized to the very corner. Oh, that looks good. Interlace the fingers behind your skull. Oh, give your head a little support for holding up all these thoughts, all these worries, all your concerns. Good. And let your hands say, I got you. Right? Good. Cactus shape in the arms. Good. Interlace the fingers behind your back, right thumb on top. Third warrior, shift forward with as much grace as you can muster in this moment. Good. If the left leg doesn't want to lift today, you can keep that big toe on the ground. Right? That's okay. the energetic wind, right? Reaching forward and a little bit down. Crouching warrior. Bend your right knee. Bring your left hand to the right shin or the right ankle. Good. Take a moment. Reach. Inhale 2. And exhale. Beautiful mudra. Inhale 1. Exhale, both hands down. Step back. Vinyasa. You can skip it too. Let your nervous system upgrade. Whew. On your exhale, take a moment to let it all go. If you're hiding any breath, let it go. And then inhale, reach your left leg up and back. Float it up. High lunge. Come forward. Reach the arms out. Lovely. Interlace your fingers and cradle the back of your head. Sorry. Funny, right? We just kind of go to that place that we think and we know. And so we're changing directions, changing our perspective. Turning our gaze and our hearts towards the light so that we can continue to grow and to thrive. Good. Now interlace the fingers behind your back, left thumb on top. And just notice if one side feels more dominant than the other. Shift forward, warrior 3, Vira 3. I think technically this is airplane. I don't know. Good. Remember that back leg, if you don't want to lift it today, you can stay on the ground. I'm counting on you to adjust your practice to what is best suited to you. Good. With grace and concentration, move into crouching warrior. Focus. Surrender. Total acceptance of where you are. Total acceptance of all the feelings. Beautiful. Vinyasa, step back. Release the pose. Witness the intensity, right? Dissolve. Right? Something that was so crazy, so unbearable. Yeah, that can go too. Let this practice, let these poses be a symbol. Good. Child's pose or down dog, 5 breaths. Let's all take a child's pose actually. If you're in down dog, let's lower the knees down for a moment. And let's bring the palms to touch. And then bend the elbows. Bring your prayer behind your head. Good. Right, and the back body in yoga, a lot of teachers talk about this being a representation of our past. So we lift our prayer behind our head as if to say thank you for all of the lessons. Thank you for all of the joy and all of the pain to better inform me in how I can turn my present moment towards the light. Feel your heart, feel your chest, the front of your spine and your throat. Relax and soften. Notice if there's any clenching or tightening of any muscles in your hips, in your thighs, in your calves. Take a moment to notice if you've gotten bored. And I would love for all of us for today to suspend any disbelief and believe this just for the remainder of class and maybe more, that your next great idea is going to be discovered through your boredom. Lower the hands down and have your palms facing upward. I'll say that again. Your next great idea that leads you to joy and fulfillment is discovered through your boredom. Turn the palms to face down and feel your palms touching the floor, touching the mat. And please fill in the blank here. Boredom feels like if you're searching for a good book. A lot of this class was from Seeds Planted by Glennon Doyle and Untamed. Inhale 3. Exhale. Inhale 2. Big exhale. Deep breath in, please. And open the mouth side out. Make a sound, flutter the lips. I'm a big fan of the sigh. And let's come back. Downward facing dog. Homeroom for us vinyasas. Good. All right. Boredom. Right? To me, it feels like, ugh, sticky, icky, glued, rigid. I don't know about you. Maybe we can talk about it after. Plank pose. Come forward, please. Good. Side plank on the left outer edge of your foot. Awesome. Beautiful. And then lift your right leg a couple of inches. Bend that knee. Step it behind you, coming into like a wild thing. Good. You don't have to go too deep. That looks good. Support your head with your right arm. This is what I miss about all of you being in a room together, is that I look to you sometimes for inspiration, like, oh, that looks good. And then come back, please, into side plank, Vashisthasana. We're coming to an eagle leg variation, so cross your right thigh over the left. Yeah, like you could just kind of cross in and float the foot, or you can wrap it around like Hana has right now. Good. And if you want to go a little deeper, you can dip that left hip down for like kind of a hip stretch and let the feet do what they're gonna do. Yeah. Good. Good. All right, now for the fire, okay? We're gonna come back into side plank, I know. Plank pose. Ashtanga Namaskar, knees, chest, and chin. Cobra pose, cycle through. Move through child's pose, stay here for a couple breaths, and we meet in downward facing dog. Feels good to rest, right? In child's pose, balance out the intensity with something soothing. And let the Polaroid picture develop. Like there is no rush. You can't rush it. Right, I heard shaking the Polaroid doesn't actually help it. That's just something we do because we think it helps, but apparently it doesn't do anything. Oh, shake it like a Ah, don't you wish that song could just come on right now? Good. Ah, inhale through your nose, please. And then sigh it out, flutter the lips. Let's do the second side. Come forward, downward facing dog. And acknowledge this new perspective. Plank pose, come forward. Side plank, second side. And lift that top leg. Step it behind you for wild thing. In certain translations of this pose, I learned translate to this: wild thing, the ecstatic unfolding of the untamed heart. The ecstatic opening of the untamed heart. One more breath. Side plank, come back. Eagle leg variation. If you hated it, don't do it. Right? You don't have to do anything here. Just try something different, right? Maybe you have to do something with the bottom foot for this to be supported. One more breath. Vashisthasana, this is the tapa here. The fire, the discipline. Good. And then vinyasa. This is the last opportunity here. Doesn't mean you have to take it. Just know this is where we are. Good. How did you know we're going there next? We are. Yeah, rolling go. It's in my notes. I have proof. Okay. So weird. Good. So please come down to the belly. Good. And we're going to do rolling cobra. So if Hana is demoing this shape, so the fingertips go out. Yeah? Good. Beautiful. Press the tops of your feet down first before we do anything. Right? Press the pelvis down into the floor. Good. Now lift the heart. Roll the spine up. And as you exhale, right, in your own time, roll the spine down. We'll do this 5 times. And there's this, for those of you who have the Be Here Now book by Ram Dass, there's a beautiful page about how you cannot rip the skin off of a snake. The snake needs to molt and shed its skin at its own time, on its own rate. Tying that in with our study of avidya, of self-knowledge. We need to know how we function. That is truly unique. Right? You wake up at the rate you wake up. You've got to go at the rate you can go. Crocodile pose when you're done. Stack the hands, rest the forehead. You're finished with your desires at the rate you finish with your desires. The disequilibrium comes into harmony at the rate it comes into harmony. You can't rip the skin off the snake. The snake must molt the skin. That's the rate it happens. Knowing the self ends suffering. Brianna wrote me 3 words strung together that I think sums this up so beautifully. Learn ourselves better. Gently sway your forehead side to side, massaging the skin, the muscles, the worries. Anything that blocks you from acknowledging the truth that you are divine, let that go. Bend your knees, windshield wiper your legs, roll your ankles around, like massage your quadriceps. I did a lot of work. Pausing anywhere that feels good in your own time. Know yourself, know your body. Contorting your body in a shape that somebody else is doing can cause a lot of suffering if that's not the right place for you. Good. And so the importance of the doing nothing, yes, the mantra of nothing, is that we cultivate that relationship in that moment of nothing, of quietude. Oh, right. I don't like that pose. Oh, right. That's not good for me. Good. Does everyone want to cry? We can do frog pose. Bunch of lizards happening, huh, Cobra? All right. Let's come onto the back. Let's flip over and hug your knees in. I love that. My new mantra is nothing. And then make little knee circles. Like draw little circles and feel that rotation of the low back down into the pelvic bowl, like swirling and changing directions. Mark recommended a documentary at the age of Hubble about the Hubble telescope and what that did to alter our perspective. And we need that dramatic kind of contrast sometimes to help us change our micro perspective from inside me, like from changing my thoughts of I don't want to wake up to I'm so grateful for this day. Good. All right, baby bridge pose. Say to Bandhasan, feet down. Good. And then your toes are pointing straight forward, right? Unless they're not, I guess. And then lift your hips. Oh, yeah, feel a stretch through the front of the pelvis, right? Psoas muscles reaching. Yeah, you can robot the arms. You can interlace your fingers behind the low back. Good. And then witness your chest coming a little closer to the chin as you drag your tailbone towards your heels. Good. Contracting through your hamstring. One more breath. Keep the hips lifted. Reach your arms over your head. Keep the arms lifted. Stretch from the whole sides of the body all the way to the wrists and the fingertips. Wait for the next exhale to release yourself down to the floor. Feel your spine. Imagine a snake just slithering silently through the grass towards the light, towards the warm sun. Touch your knees together if they are not. Good. Back bends are traditionally taught in series, so 2 more for today. If you have a block, friends, or you can slide it under your sacrum for restorative bridge. Good. Otherwise, come on up. Find the arm variation that is best suited for you in this moment. And 3 breaths in and out. How can I change the directions my perspective. How can I do nothing and feel guiltless? Lower down after your completion of 3 breaths. How can I work through the sensations of boredom, knowing that there are gifts and boons, creativity, imagination waiting on the other side? Bring to your heart's awareness and into your mind and your soul's awareness an intention of how you want to rise out of where we are in this current reality. If there's no words, it's just a feeling that is perfectly valid. Hold that awareness in your heart for your final back bend. Many of you have a full wheel practice. If you'd like to do that, enter safely with control. And acknowledge in this moment that you are divine. Anything that draws you away, doubts, shifts your perspective away from that truth is not true. Carefully exit the pose when you find yourself complete. Good. Self-knowledge and suffering. Press your low back into the floor. Good. Keep the left leg bent. Bring the right leg into half happy baby. Notice anywhere the muscles are still gripping. And let that go with your next exhale. Om Gate Gate. Okay, we're coming into a twist. So bring that right knee all the way to the left. And you can extend that left leg out. Unwind. Witness. Observe. Put a sweater on. Write something down. Put a post-it note on your forehead. Good. It's a good practice to obstruct your vision and then reveal, right? It's like avidya. My teacher says avidya. It's like putting coconut oil like on your glasses or on your sunglasses. Right, this film, right? You can still kind of see, you can make out what's happening, but that's not the truth. And another metaphor she uses to talk about avidya is that it's a dark, stormy night and it's completely pitch black. And then lightning, right? All of a sudden there's a flash of lightning. And then just for that split second, you can see, right, the garden outside. You can see some bushes, you can see some trees, right? You see that, but then in that moment, it's gone, it's dark again. Come back to center. Bend your right knee, bring your left leg into half happy baby. And that's like our understanding of our own divinity, is that we know it's there, right? We know there's a garden out there. We know, but we only are given little flashes sometimes of knowing what's there. So how do we get to know it better? There's tapa, right? The fiery heat of your practice. Bring this leg into a twist. There's meditation, right? Which hopefully, I'm sure many of you have drawn the bridge from doing nothing and being bored to meditation. Ashley, you wrote in that it was so nice to practice and then sit and do nothing. And I was like, you got it, girl. All this asana was designed so that we can better sit in meditation. See if you can soften some aspect of your physical body. If there's something else you need, my friends, before we settle into Shava, please take it now. If you have an eye pillow or a towel or a scarf nearby, I just can't help it. Settle in. We'll be here for 3 minutes. And you do not need to exit if you don't want to. Just stay here. I will bring you out of Shava. So let yourself sink in.
next inhale, be wide, soulful and sweet. And as you exhale, feel the backside of your body melt into the floor. Very slowly sway your head, feeling this motion. You wake up that pranic air swirling around you. Give yourself a hug. Cross the arms in front of the body. And walk the fingers back, rocking a little side to side as if to make more space for the heart and the back of the body. Good. And as you're ready, remember, friends, you can stay as long as you need. Make your way up if you'd like to join us in a seated pose. Good. 3 ohms. Let's seal in our efforts today. Everything we've learned, everything that was revealed to us with the sacred sound of Om. Inhale. Feel the palm, bow the chin and lift the heart. And may that light glowing inside of you shine so bright as a reminder that you are nothing less of divine. Thank you for being here, sharing your practice with one another. Om Namaste. Thank you, Hana. Thank you all. Hello, hello. And now we do our thing, right?